everyone, this is Gimpy's Gal from The Gimpy Gamer, and you're watching No Enemies Here Wargaming News, the best source in gaming information.
The Player's Aid have a couple of videos out this week, the first one being Unbagging, Price of Honor from High Flying Dice Games, The Battle of Callao, May 2nd, 1866. This is a game designed by Paul Rohrbaugh, the artist is Bruce Yerian, and published by High Flying Dice Games. Alexander is interviewing Sean Drulinger, the designer of Point Blank, a game published by Lock and Load. Alexander is interviewing Mark Herman on a game he co-designed with Jeff Engelstein, Versailles 1919, a game soon to be published by GMT. Also, the Player's Aid are doing a debriefing of the World Board Gaming Championship, what went on, the goings-ons, and the parties, and yeah. Grant has an interview with Ryan Haleman and Dave Shaw of the game Brave Little Belgium, to be published by Hollenspiel. The Gimpy Gamer, Gimpy's Gal, tries to guess at the World Board Gaming Championship what Bloody Mohawk by Lock and Load Publishing is all about. Also, this is an onslaught of the Gimpy people. Gimpy's Gal again guesses Skies Above the Reich, a game by Jeremy M. White and Mark Asted. Also, Gimpy has got his magnum opus continuation of Lock and Load Core Rules version 5. I should say Tactical Core Rules. He talks about emplacements, barricades, trenches, and emplacements again. Also, Gimpy interviews at the World Board Gaming Championship Keith Tracton about World at War 85, and he has Mo of Mo's Game Table interviewing Steve Overton about Conflict Now Red Eclipse, a game by Lock and Load. Gilbert Collins gives us his impressions of the World Board Gaming Championship and a little history of the event. The Chief of Bonding with Board Games is reviewing Battle of Britain by Richard Borg, a new edition of the old TSR classic published by PSC, Plastic Soldier Company. Gigi of the Geek Gamers is checking out Magic Realm. It's a post-play thought of an old Avalon Hill game designed by Richard Hamblin. And she also does an urgent unboxing of Invasion America, an old SPI game designed by Jim Dunnigan, and the artist is Rednan A. Simonson. Blast Pop gives his evaluation of Skies Above the Reich, his thoughts, recommendations, and a review. Also, Blast Pop is giving you a after actions report of Autumn for Barbarossa from Special Ops, the Wargaming Journal, issue number 7. Mo of Mo's Game Table. By the way, happy birthday, Mo! He's taking a look at Heroes of Normandy, Untold Stories, Volume 1, a game and book published by Lock and Load. Enrico Viglino of Callendale fame is doing his second playthrough and wrap-up of Cold War, a game designed by Lenny Glynn and John Prados. This was published by Victory Games and Hobby Japan. He's also giving you his thoughts and review on the game. Thursday Night Gamers is doing part 6 of Napoleon's Resurgence, Bautzen. This is a game designed by Kevin Zucker. The artists are Knut Grunitz, Charles Keebler, and Christopher Moeller. Published by OSG, Operational Studies Group. Kyle Seeley is checking out 3 Days of Gettysburg, a game designed by Richard Berg, published by GMT. He's checking out Day 2. Compass Games, Russia Besieged Deluxe Edition. Designed by Art Lupinacci, Russia Besieged covers the entire German campaign in the East from 1941 to the bitter end in 1945. Complexity 6 out of 10, solitaire suitability 8 out of 10, the time scale 1 turn equals 2 months broken down into monthly impulses. The map scale is 1 hex equals 32 miles or 52 kilometers. The unit scale is Army, Corps, breakdown counters, Volkssturm, and Partisan. This is a 2-player or solitary game. Playing time, the scenarios of 2+ hours up to a campaign game of 20 hours. The designer is Art Lupinacci. The developer of the deluxe edition is Robert Beima. The components: 35 by 47 inch 2-piece map, 3 counter sheets of 5/8 of an inch, 1 rulebook, 1 playbook, multiple play aid charts, order of battle and setup cards, 1 10-sided die, and a box and a lid. John Krantz is live with Compass Games Live Episode 10. Wayne Hansen on his Recon segment has a few videos out, the first one being Gorbachev, The Fall of Communism, which is a solitaire State of Siege style war game designed by Ben Madsen and published by White Dog Games. Also in his Recon segment, which is an unboxing, he unboxes or recons The Lost Provinces, a hex and counter war game designed by John Gorkowski and published by Hollenspiele. Down in Flames Locked On, a game designed and published by Dan Verson of DVG. He is DVG. Dan Verson. For the people who haven't figured it out yet, DV of DVG stands for Dan Verson. G stands for Games. He's a clever guy. Dan Verson. Games. Jonathan Townsend has 4 videos out on Up Front by Courtney F. Allen on rear guard action. Also, Jonathan does a rare unboxing of the Battle of Blenheim 1704 by Steve Pohl, published by Legion War Games. USA Patriot 4163 is taking a brief look at Harvest of Death, the second day at Gettysburg, a Strategy and Tactics magazine number 129. Enrico Viglino of Callendale fame is checking out Shiloh, The Battle for Tanner Sea, 6th and 7th of April, 1862. This is a game designed by Kip Allen, Iran B. Hardy, and Redmond A. Simonson. The artist is Redmond A. Simonson, published by SPI. High Flying Dice, The Whole Sad Story, The Battle for West Timor, February 20 to 22nd, 1942. This is a game designed by Paul Rohrbaugh and the graphics are by Ilya Kudryashov. The game includes a 11 by 17 inch map, 91 single-sided unmounted counters and markers along with an 8-page rule booklet. Lock and Load, Bloody Mohawk, The French and Indian War. This is a game designed by Bill Molyneux and the artist is Jose Ramon Faura, published by Lock and Load. What we get with this game is 10 8.5 by 11 inch maps, 1 counter sheet stickers and chipboard, 1 game manual, and 1 8.5 by 11 inch player aid card. Complexity is 4 out of 10, solitaire suitability is 10 out of 10, and it takes 30 to 60 minutes to play.
I don't think so. I think most wargame companies are doing pretty well right now financially, and their titles seem to be selling well, seem to be generally popular. I think if we're saturated with anything, it's probably old, stale ideas that really need to be updated to accommodate the new board gaming marketplace. It is a golden age of board gaming. I mean, sales are, for all types of games, are through the roof. I would just like to see the war game companies become a little bit more accessible, make war games more palatable to the general gaming public, and I think that can be done quite easily. As a matter of fact, Harvey and I just played a game called Napoleon 1806 by Shaco, which is a French company, and the game was brilliant. We broke it out of the box, read the rules, had it playing, and we were into it within 15 minutes. It was a couple hours of game time, and it felt right. The campaign was what we felt was accurately simulated, and it was easy peasy to play. And I think that's what war games really need to do now. I think we need to just be more accommodating to gaming groups. For example, you know, we get together on Saturdays with 5 or 6 guys, and we don't play war games. We can't play war games because war games are 2-player games. They usually take an hour or so to set up, and never mind about completing them in an afternoon. That's almost impossible. So I would like to see war games accommodate larger numbers of players, be able to be completed in an afternoon to conclusion, and have the rules be accessible enough so that we're not constantly diving into the rule book to play the game. We just want to have fun and play the game and just make it a more fun afternoon of not looking up rules, but still getting the same historical simulation aspect out of it. So, no, it's not saturated, but it's saturated with old ideas. And I think a lot of companies are picking up on that and coming up with new designs and new, better component quality, and just making games more palatable to the general community. I'm going to pick Vincent Price only because he was in a movie that scared the living daylights out of me when I was a kid, and I actually showed it to my kids when they were little and scared them too, and that was a movie called House on Haunted Hill, which I still to this day get the creeps whenever I see it. It was very cheaply done, but you know, when you're a kid and you see some of those images of the floating witch and all that, and the skeletons coming out of the floor, it was just terrifying. Well, as far as my favorite bands, I mean, I go all the way back to the 70s. I saw the Ramones. I remember my first big concert was Grand Funk Railroad in Madison Square Garden. Since then, I've seen Foghat, Blue Oyster Cult, Queen, The Cars, recently Metallica, Black Sabbath. One of my favorite concerts was the German industrial metal band Rammstein, which they were fantastic. And but of my favorites, there's well, Metallica, of course, and there's an English boogie band that nobody in the United States has ever heard of called Status Quo, which is absolutely one of my favorites. The cool story that I have about them is that we went to go see Peter Frampton in concert back when he was doing his big live album tour, and we were there because Status Quo was the opening act, and we were a bunch of, I'd say about 100 people in the audience who were there to see Status Quo. We were the only ones who knew who they were, but we really loved that thing, and then we had to sit through Peter Frampton. So, but my favorite band is probably ZZ Top. I've seen them about 10 times live since 1973, and this is a picture of Dusty Hill back when he was, when I saw him in that concert. These are pictures from my brother in 1973, I believe, when we saw them in New York City. So you'll see this is before they had the beards and the sunglasses, which is their iconic look. There they are. God, they had to be about 20-something years old then. And there's Billy Gibbons. The cowboy hat, sans beard, and sunglasses. So ZZ Top is probably my favorite band of all time. Well, there are a lot of great innovative designers out there right now, obviously. The guy who first influenced me, who really showed me that you can make game playable and innovative and do it on obscure battles, was Rob Markham. His designs back in the 3W days were the ones that I really enjoyed the most. They were a lot of quads, always had some kind of cool mechanic. His Blood and Iron game, in fact, is the one that showed me that the Franco-Prussian War is a far more interesting war at the battle level than I had originally envisioned. So Blood and Iron was a great, very influential game. And he was always able to do games that were, like I said, both playable and innovative, and had some historical chaos in it. So he was very influential in my design style. And as far as today, obviously Mark Herman is doing wonderful things at GMT and thinking outside the box. Tom Russell at Hollandspiel.
Hey everyone, this is Tom Russell from Hollandspiel.
Mark Walker at Flying Pig Games has got some great games coming out. And always, again, thinking outside the box with new presentations, quality components, that kind of thing. One of the problems I have with getting enough war games played is that, of course, you can see that my dog Schnitzel is a huge Settlers of Catan fan, and he keeps wanting to play, but he keeps wanting to trade wood for squirrels, and I have to tell him that squirrels is not a commodity in Settlers of Catan. So he's insisted that I build a new expansion to Catan called the Squirrels of Catan, and this has taken up a lot of my time. So you can see I'm under a lot of pressure here to get games done. There aren't any games that I wouldn't design philosophically. I mean, other than, you know, ethnic cleansing games and that kind of thing. As far as periods of history, I really don't know very much about medieval, ancients, so I would avoid those because I would not be coming from a position of knowledge. And probably strategic World War II. I'm generally not interested in that. They get kind of repetitive and boring for me, and that's just my personal opinion. As far as Ancients games, I would like to see somebody come up with something new for Ancients games other than lining up guys facing each other and basically just piling markers on them. And then when one flank breaks, the game's over. There has to be a way to approach ancient warfare, I think, in a different way, thinking outside the box a little bit. But I'll leave that to somebody else because I don't know that I can do it. So. Yes, I will design a new game called Obstetrics, A New Beginning, and I will do it for Karma, whoever she is. There will never be a rule book that is errata-free. I've tried. It's impossible. I've written books and I've proofread them a million times. We've had other people proofread them, and something gets through every single time. I don't care how hard we try. So no, there will never be an errata-free rule book. As far as Tolkien's concerned, he misspelled the Elven word for mushroom on page 324 of the Two Towers, so he's not as great as you think. And another game that I'm going to be really proud of is this one that I'm doing exclusively for Stuka Joe.
When I see meeples, I get in a real bad mood.
These are my Vikings of Catan miniatures. These are going to be designed to lay waste to every other Eurogame out there that uses meeples. They are armed and dangerous, and they will enter any other Eurogame. You can bring them to any Eurogame table and have them invade the table and destroy. There's even little fire markers there, as you can see, so that you can burn the villages and pillage. And so Stuka Joe requested that there be a Wargame version of Meeples, and here they are, and I hope I can finish this up real soon. I'm actually going to cheat a little bit here and give you 5 of them for various reasons. This is Dawn of the Zeds. This is my best-selling game, which I first did, what, 7, 8 years ago or so with VPG. It's now in its 3rd edition. It's actually outsold all my other games combined, so obviously I'm very proud of this, and it's done great. And Alan Emmerich was great in helping develop this and get it out there to the masses. So Dawn of the Zeds. Next would be At Any Cost. This is my first GMT game. Hopefully there's more to come. But this was 4 years of hard work for Fred Manzo and myself. We labored away at this. We went through a lot of different variations of it. Many changes, lots of play testing, lots of waiting, lots of work, lots of people involved. And I'm really proud of this, how it ended up turning out. And in a similar vein, pan out of here a little bit, got Long Street Attacks, which I'm really proud of this one because it was almost as long to make as At Any Cost. But what I really appreciate about this project was the work that was put in by Claude Whalen and Steve Pointinger and Roger Miller and Rich Handworth over at Revolution Games. They all chipped in to make this really the culmination, the epitome of the Blind Swords Civil War system. So the last 2 games that I'm really proud of here are Race to the Sea, which uses a system that I designed actually in Dead Reckoning. But Race to the Sea really brings it to the forefront of wargaming. All those little ideas came together very nicely. There's some new stuff in there. There's bidding for actions. There's a diceless combat system that uses cards. There's hidden casualties that will affect different units in different ways. And there's still, there's still chaos, of course. There's a historical chaos table where all sorts of weird things can happen. So Race to the Sea really brought it all together very nicely, and I'm hoping that we're going to be able to do some more games in that series. And finally, Duel of Eagles is this is the granddaddy of the Blind Sword system. This was the first game I did using that mechanic and that philosophy, and this is the game that got it all started. I saw that it worked in this. This was the experimental game, and this gave birth to all the Blind Swords ACW games, Stonewall Sword, Thunder in the Ozarks, and of course Long Street Attacks, but also At Any Cost. And so I'm really proud of this game. This really set up a whole series of games. Now, most people would think that I was going to say Jimi Hendrix because I really like guitar work. It's the most important instrument in the band.
Now, that's a matter of opinion now, isn't it, Herman?
I love good guitar players, but Jim Morrison is an interesting character, to say the least. I saw a movie on Netflix about the Doors, and he's one dude that I really would love to sit down and talk to because he's got a lot of stuff. He's one of those borderline geniuses, nut jobs, and I would really like to talk to him. Well, I love Italian food. I really do. But obviously, I have a soft spot for German food, especially Sauerbraten with some nice potato dumplings and red cabbage. Don't care about either one of them. Julia Child or Jacques Pepin?
Jacques Pepin. Jacques Pepin.
Julia Child, I think. I thought Meryl Streep's movie on Julia Child was really interesting, actually, and she was quite a figure in the food world, and another interesting person to talk to. As far as the violence in our games, all the quote-unquote dead bodies, it's interesting because I've actually thought about that. You know, we get joy out of playing games about war, about battles, about campaigns. And I know the stereotype out there is that wargamers are warmongers, we're violent, we're, you know, obnoxious, belligerent. And strangely enough, I think the opposite is true. I think almost all wargamers that I've met and I've played with are actually really nice guys and gals, and are really very peaceful, wonderful people, very accommodating, and I think, now, you know, I'm not a philosopher or a psychiatrist or anything, but I think that probably humans are inbred with a certain violent tendency in our DNA, and people express that in different ways. And I think in many ways that wargaming is very healthy in that sense, in that whatever feelings we have of conquering and killing and that kind of thing comes through in our gameplay. And I think warfare actually makes very intriguing gameplay because the events that we're depicting and simulating are very dramatic, very iconic, very important events in world history. And the drama is there, and the vast consequences are there. So I think we can channel all that through our gameplay, so that we can safely, quote unquote, kill or express our violent inner tendencies through gameplay by, quote unquote, killing cardboard counters. So I actually think that wargaming is a very healthy way of taking care of all that. And like I said, most wargamers I know are not a violent bunch at all. I think we're all here to have fun and get along, and there's no violence at all, as from what I can tell. So I've thought about it, but I think in the end it's actually a really healthy hobby for us.
Gen Con is happening right now, August 2nd to the 5th, 2018 in Indianapolis. If you're watching this, you're not there. Thanks for watching. I'll see you next week.